Alright, hi guys, it's Andrew here, bit of a different look. Today we're going to be talking about splitting the keyboards for different sounds, why you might want to do it, and some of the tricks that you can do to make playing the keyboard part much easier. So, we need to remember, Kalimba bells. I'll tell you why in a minute. A lot of you, I'm going to use the example of Toto's Africa for any demo. So, those of you who don't know the piece, the piano part goes something like this. So, there's two elements. Sorry, I'm trying to do this upside down. There's two elements. The first one is the piano chords. And the second part is like a music box sort of a sound, which is in fourths. Which is, it's easy enough. But moving... There's a lot of moving around, and that's not always ideal. So we're going to try and create a quick and nasty patch to show you the sort of things that you can do. So that sound that we had to remember was the kalimba. Now I know that it happens to be in the mallet clavinet section. You can use these categories to jump around. Now I'm pretty sure, there it was, kalimba bells. It sounds like this. Now, the sustain pedal does change the sound, so this is without, this is with. So you can hear that the bell sound is sustained with a sustained sound. Cool! So I want to have this sound for this section. But I want piano down here. How do we do that? So on this keyboard, which is the Roland RD 300NX, first of all we want this split function. Now if you just press it, you may not know where the split is because there's no lights or anything. But if you press and hold, you can see that it says the split point is F# 4, which happens to be this one. Now if you press and hold and press any button, you can see that it's updating the note on the screen to be whatever note that I press. Now I've already planned this ahead of time and I know my split point is going to be there. That means that this note is the lowest note that I'm going to play with my kalimba sound. And anything below that will be the piano. So now that I've set that point, I can release the split button. So now we have, this is the, we have double bass here. And above this note is the kalimba sound. Sorry, I messed that up. This is the highest note of the lower sound. Anyway. So we now have a split mode where kalimba is here, and at the moment acoustic bass is here. We don't want acoustic bass. So now that we have our split mode on, we can go into layer edit, and you can see that we've got 3 layers. We've got upper 1, upper 2, and lower. Okay, so now, at the moment, I could, this is it should be pointed out, these 3 faders here are the mixer levels for the upper 1, upper 2, and lower. So if I didn't want to hear upper 2, I'd just turn upper 2 down. But want to try and make it easier to play this. Maybe with one hand. I could do that, or I could do a little trick, which is use my navigation, my cursor keys. Now, Roland aren't always the easiest things to understand, I find. Lowercase upper 2, as is here, as opposed to uppercase upper 1, means that this layer is turned off. So using my cursors to move my cursor around, if I press increase to toggle on or off, it's now an uppercase. I hope you can see that on the screen. You'll also notice that the dual light turned on. This means we've got two sounds happening in the same zone. So I'm going to change this sound to exactly the same. So we have Kalimba bells on both upper 1 and upper 2. So that's 103. It's handy to have a piece of paper or something to write down the numbers, so you can do this much easier. Now, at the moment, I've just got upper 1 and upper 2. Exactly the same sound. What are you doing, Andrew? Bear with me. You see there's a little arrow up here. If I press the right arrow on the cursor, I get another section of parameters that I can change. The volume, the pan, the reverb amount, and the chorus amount. Now the pan can be useful if you want to send some sounds out of the left channel and some sounds out of the right channel to your sound guy. That's not what we want at the moment. So I'm going to keep going to the right, and this is what I want. I've now got transpose, key range, so it tells you the range of the keys. You can actually split this sound into different layers, zones. You've got the upper range, you've got the velocity range, so you can set the minimum and the maximum velocity range. So let's say if you only wanted to ever play something quietly or loudly, you can set that so no matter how hard you press the keys, it only works within those ranges. We've got velocity sensitivity, voice reserve. That's getting into sort of more advanced stuff. This is another useful thing to be aware of. You can actually tell the different layers to either respond to the damper pedal or the sustain pedal, or if you press decrease, you can tell it to ignore the damper pedal. So now, if I hold down the sustain pedal, you can see that it's not responding to that MIDI signal. So anyway, going back to my transpose, I said before it was in fourths, right? So at the moment I've got two copies of the same sound in unison. That's not what we want. I'm going to program the upper 2 layer to be a perfect fourth lower than my original key that I hit. So as I press down, I'm now pressing one note but getting two notes. And as you know, perfect fourth is 5 semitones, so this works in semitones. So now I can play this riff with one finger at a time. Much easier. Cool. So let's go back to our sound selection. And I don't want an acoustic bass, I want a piano. I'll just press the piano category, and I don't want that one. Let's get something a bit more. Nope. Nope. That'll do. It's not ideal. So now I have a much broader sense of sound. So let me play the same riff again, this time with my piano down here and my kalimba bells up here. But remember that it's actually, I'm triggering two different instances of the same sound in fourths. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I wanted to do a bit of fine tuning, I'd probably say that the kalimba sounds a little bit loud. So all I have to do is just lower the faders of the upper channels. So now we have this balance. Which is much better. And remember, you could actually have it so that the top note is much louder, or the bottom note is louder. So there's a lot of customizability and flexibility doing it this way. Now, after we've spent a lot of time practicing it all, you don't want to have to do that every time because it's a pain. What you could do over here, yes, you can see that, I think. Yes, there is a right button. Oh, we can exit out of the layout. Now, see this little asterisk on the name? It tells me that I've made changes to that sound and I haven't saved it. So, I need to go right. I would suggest you rename it to something. You just use your increase and decrease as you move along. And don't save it over somebody else's patch. So you just hold down increase until we go to, here we go. We've passed a couple of them. Initial live set. We can do that. If we wanted to hopefully call it something a little bit more memorable, sorry. So this number here, 93, is really important for you to remember, because that's how you're going to remember what you've done. So anyway, let's say I've changed my name, changed the name of the sound, and I'm going to press right. I'm going to hit enter. It says, are you sure? Yes. So you can either press exit if you don't want to, or you press enter if you are sure. Cool. Executing. Now, we're now in the user section. Yes, you can just see that. In the user section, rather than being clavinet, strings, organ, etc., etc., these are broken into banks of 20 different sounds. So we were at number 93. So let's use our increase button to go to 93. And here we have our sound again. So if you wanted to have that sound easily accessible for a song, you need to know what category it's on. If you press and hold that category while it's on the screen, you see that what happened there? It says assigned. So that means that this sound is now assigned to the default sound for that bank of 20. And there we go there. So anyway, if you're unsure about anything, go back and look over the video. There's also the user manual in the library and online. I'll put a link to that in the description. But yeah, really try to think of splitting layers of sounds to allow your job to be easier. And just like guitarists, hang on a minute. Just like guitarists needing to volume match all of their gear, their pedals and sounds, keyboard players have to do the same thing as well, and it can take you multiple rehearsals to get the setting of the keyboard right so that it works for you and the song. So feel free to experiment and do something more than just standard piano sounds or just one-dimensional sounds, and you'll find you're covering a lot more, you're having a lot more fun, you're contributing a lot more to the band, and you'll be more less dispensable, more valuable to the band. So yeah, anyway, this is Andrew, signing out.